My class of cyber security. Today we will learn about hypertext transfer protocol. HTTP is an application protocol for distributive collaborative hypermedia information system. HTTP is the foundation of data communication for World Wide Web, where hypertext document includes hyperlink to other resources that the user can easily access. For example, by a mouse click or by tapping the screen in a web browser. Development of HTTP was initiated by Tim Berners-Lee at CERN in 1989. Development of early HTTP request for comments was a coordinated effort by Internet Engineering Task Force and World Wide Web Consortium, with work later moving to IETF. HTTP functions as a request response protocol in the client server computing model. The client submits an HTTP request to the server. The server, which provides resources such as HTML files and other content, or performs other function on behalf of the client, returns a response message to the client. The response contains completion status information about the request and may also contain request content in its message body. HTTP 1.1 was documented in RFC 2068 in the year 1997. And HTTP 2 is more efficient version of HTTP semantics on the wire and was published in the year 2015. HTTP 3 is the proposed successor of HTTP 2, which is already in use on the web using UDP instead of TCP for the underlying transport protocol. HTTP is an application layer protocol which commonly uses TCP, that is Transmission Control Protocol. Connectivity. HTTP does not handle network connectivity or how information is transmitted. DNS protocols helps client to connect with requested server. Application layer does important work like web browsing or file transferring. The server respond to the method. The server respond to the method request without knowing anything about client. Each request require separate TCP network. And TCP session is a sequence of network request response connection. An HTTP client initiates a request by establishing a transmission control protocol TCP connection to a particular port on a server, typically port 80, occasionally port 8080. An HTTP server listening on the port waits for a client's request message. Upon receiving the request, the server sends back a status line. The body of this message is typically the requested source, although an error message or other information may also be returned. Now we come to HTTP request method. what are the HTTP request methods? We should learn in detail. What do you mean by HTTP method? The set of common methods for HTTP is defined as get, post and head. There are other methods also, but mainly there are three methods: get, post and head. We will learn about all the three methods one by one. The get methods request a representation of the specified resource. Request using get should only retrieve data and should have no other effect. This method is used to retrieve information from the given server using a given URL. Request using get should only retrieve data and should have no other effect on the data. It should be kept in mind that get request can be cached. Get request remain in the browser history. Get request can be bookmarked. Get request should never be used when dealing with sensitive data. Get requests have lengthy restrictions. Get requests are only used to request data which cannot be modified. Post. The post request is used to send data to the server. For example, customer information, file upload, etc. using HTML forms. The post method requests that the server accept the entity enclosed in the request as a new subordinate of the web resource identified by the URL. The data sent to the server with post is stored in the request body of the HTTP request. Post is one of the most common HTTP method. Post requests are never cached. Post requests don't remain in the browser history. Post requests cannot be bookmarked. Post requests have no restrictions on data length. Now, if we compare the two methods get and post, get is harmless. If we consider back button or reload property as criteria, then get is harmless, whereas in case of post, data will be resubmitted. The browser should alert the user that the data are about to be resubmitted. Get can be bookmarked, post cannot be bookmarked. Get can be cached, post cannot be cached. Get uses about encoding property, encoding type. Get uses application X www form unrel encoded. Application X www form unrel encoded or multipart form data. Use multipart encoding for binary data. If we study the history, then we find that get parameters remain in browser history, whereas post parameters are not saved in browser history. Restrictions on data length? Yes, when sending data, the get methods adds the data to the URL and the length of a URL is limited. In case of post, there is no restrictions on data length. Restrictions on data type, only ASCII characters are allowed. In case of post, No restrictions. Binary data is also allowed. Get is less secure compared to post because data sent is part of URL. Never use get when sending password or other sensitive information. Post is a little safer than get because the parameters are not stored in browser history or in web server logs. Get data is visible to everyone in the URL, whereas in case of post, data is not displayed in the URL. Now we will study the third method, that is head. The head method asks for a response identical to that of a get request but without response body. This is useful for retrieving meta information written in response header without having to transport the entire content. In other words, we say that if get users return a list of users, then head users will make the same request but will not return the list of user. Head requests are useful for checking what a get request will return before actually making a get request, like before downloading a large file or response body. Now we come to request method. There are 5 new methods: put, delete, trace, option and connect. These are the different methods which are present. Now let us study one by one. Put method. It replaces all current representation of the target resource with the uploaded content. The put method requests that the enclosed entity be stored under the supplied URL. If the URL refers to an already existing resource, then the server can request the resource with the URL. Then we come to delete method. The delete method, we come to another method that is called delete method. The delete method deletes the specifies resources. That is, it removes all current representation of target resource given by a URL. Trace method. Trace method echoes the received request so that a client can see what changes or additions have been made by intermediate servers. It performs a message loop back test along the path to the target resource. Then there are other methods also, option and connect. Option method, this can be used to check the functionality of web server by requesting instead of specifying resource. The option method is used by the client to find out the HTTP method and other options supported by a web server. The client can specify a URL for the options method or an asterisk to refer to the entire server. Connect method. The connect method converts the request connection to a transparent TCP IP. This method is used by the client to establish a network connection to a web server over HTTP. The following example requests a connection with a web server running on the host. Now we will read about persistent connection. HTTP persistent connection, it is a network communication channel that remains open for further HTTP requests and responses rather than closing after a single exchange. It is called HTTP keep alive, or HTTP connection reuse is the idea of using a single TCP connection to send and receive multiple HTTP requests and response. Persistent connections stay open across transactions until either the client or the server decides to close them. A persistent connection is a network communication channel that remains open for further HTTP requests and responses rather than closing after a single exchange. HTTP has a persistent connection function. It allows the channel to remain open. It starts a connection after confirmation from both ends that they are available to open to a data exchange. Now this is the diagram of persistent connections. Client makes the connection open and then the exchange of messages there. Once the messages are sent, an open connection is faster for frequent data exchange. Communication overhead is saved by leaving a connection open rather than opening and closing session for each request. Persistent connection can also be used with APIs to enable server to push data to client. Other benefits of persistent connection include reduced network congestion, latency, and CPU and memory usage due to lower number of connections. Error can also be reported without closing the connection. In the diagram you can see that there is only one open and only one close request or close signal. Now we come to advantages and disadvantages of persistent connection. Lower CPU and memory usage because fewer connections are open simultaneously. Enables HTTP pipelining of request and response. Reduced network congestion, fewer TCP connection. Reduced latency in subsequent request. No handshaking. Errors can be reported without the penalty of closing the TCP connection. These are the advantages. Now what is the disadvantage? If the client does not need the connection when all of the data it needs has been received, then the server will unavailable for other client. This is one of the disadvantage. Now we come to HTTP non-persistent connection. HTTP non-persistent connection is the idea of using a multiple TCP connection to send and receive each HTTP request or responses. Each object transfer from low start. It's simpler to being stateless. HTTP is a stateless protocol, that is, server maintains no information about past client request. In non-persistent HTTP, 2 RTTs per object is required. Browsers often open parallel TCP connection to fetch referenced object. Thank you for watching.